Welcome to Operation Healing Heroes. Join me today in beautiful Boerne, Texas on Legacy Farmstead as we feature Green Beret U.S. Army veteran John Arroyo.
They served for us. They sacrificed for us. Their stories deserve to be told. Every military veteran has a story to tell. Join our host, Jay Garstecki, as we honor the stories of our true American heroes, one soldier at a time. The mission today is Operation Healing Heroes. Brought to you by Great Clips.
Multiple people were injured in a workplace shooting.
The sheriff's office confirming that they've had an active shooter.
New details coming in after a deadly workplace shooting today.
We are a nation plagued by tragedy and violence, where the unthinkable has become all too common, having to endure the devastating impact of mass shootings, where every gunshot echoes through the heart of humanity, shattering lives, dreams, and innocence. In a world where chaos and tragedy collide, one man's story stands as a testament to the power of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable horror. John Arroyo defied the odds in a gripping journey of courage, survival, and resilience.
Hey, John Arroyo.
Yeah, John Henderson.
Hey John, Jay Garstecki, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Welcome to Legacy Farmstead.
Thanks for having us.
This is my son Briggs.
So John, tell me about life growing up.
Well, grew up in a good home, good mother, good grandmother, but I didn't have a dad. Had a good family. They all loved me. But growing up at home, not having a dad in my life kind of affected me. There was a void in my home, and the void was my dad. I didn't have my dad in my life. He died when I was approximately 5 years old. He died of cirrhosis of the liver. And I didn't have a reflection of what manhood should look like. And I was never affirmed by my dad. So I went looking for affirmation. I went looking for approval. And I kind of found it in an unhealthy way. I ended up in gangs in 7th grade. By 9th grade, I was a teenage father. And by 12th grade, I got into drugs. I got into methamphetamines. And a lot of that wasn't because I didn't have a good home. It was because I was never affirmed. I was never approved by my dad. I never heard, "I love you and I'm proud of you." I needed affirmation. All my friends in the early 90s, when gangster rap came on the scene, they thought gangs were cool. What I needed from them was their approval. I needed their affirmation. I needed the pats on the back. So what did they think was cool? They thought gangs were cool. So what I did is I got in gangs, and that led me into drugs, and that began to destroy my life. That's the whole reason why I was going into the military. It wasn't because I was patriotic. It's because I was addicted to methamphetamines. And my grandmother and my sister saw right through the addiction. And she gave me tough love. She began to tell me the truth, like, if you don't get out of here, you're gonna be a loser the rest of your life. And I'm like, well, what do I do? My sister told me the truth. She walked me into an Army recruiter and she said, "John, if you don't leave here, you'll be a loser the rest of your life, and you will give your son what we receive, which is nothing." And that's how I ended up in the military. I ended up, there's not a lot of people that know this, and so my sister's not gonna be happy that I'm saying it, but I'm gonna say the truth, because we're telling a story to help somebody else, right? That's what Operation Healing Heroes is about. It's about bringing those others along. When my recruiter picked me up, I was doing drugs in the bathroom before he took me. Then the next day I would get on a flight. I was actually detoxing from methamphetamines while I was in basic training. Well, here I am getting my last fix before my life transforms.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Northern Clearing, and by Enbridge.
Operation Healing Heroes is a nonprofit organization dedicated to documenting the lives of our U.S. military veterans. In addition, we also provide financial support and treatment for post-traumatic stress. Your donation will help heal our heroes.
So my first duty assignment was Fort Bragg, North Carolina, home of the 82nd Airborne Division and home of Special Operations. I would see these Green Berets and Army Rangers, and everybody would say, oh my goodness, the Green Berets, they're the best. The Rangers, they're the best. Well, Special Forces, they wear a tab on their shoulder that says special. I needed people to see me as special, so I started telling everybody, I'm gonna be a Green Beret one day. I didn't even know what Green Berets do. But it didn't matter because all I really wanted was the fanfare of telling people that I wanted to be a Green Beret. I had a close teammate that came up to me one day and he said, stop telling people you're gonna be a Green Beret, just go do it. So it was put up or shut up. And that's where I found the men and women that called out that leadership inside of me. They saw what Grandma saw. They saw what my sister saw. So September 10th, 2001, I start selection, which is Special Forces Assessment and Selection. And September 11th, the colonel pulls us in a classroom and says, gentlemen, we're now a nation at war. We didn't believe him. We thought that he was gonna give us some ammo cans, throw us in the woods and tell us to go get the downed pilot. We thought it was part of the scenario, but it wasn't. And it became real. And that's when I knew that I wanted to be a Green Beret, not because I wanted the fanfare, but because I wanted to be one of the most elite commandos. And when the flag went up, I wanted to be in that nation 6 months behind enemy lines when the president says we got our best on the ground. But you know, when I was in the 82nd Airborne Division as a young soldier, we were told that we were the most physically fit alcoholics. And we wore it like a badge. It was almost like we were proud of it. I put myself into alcohol. Alcohol became the source of my resilience. And then during that time, I became just a mean, angry drinker. It was always like a honeymoon. When I came home, it was good with the kids, but you know, the military realized that there's something that happens in reintegration, and it was something that my wife and I and our family, we weren't prepared for. So, you know, my wife had to take over the role of the home. Mm-hmm. But I would get home and I would try to step back into those roles, and I was bringing that anxiety with me. I was bringing that tension into my home. And my wife, she couldn't act right. My children couldn't act right, at least in my eyes. They had to walk this fine line almost like they were in the military. And what happened is I just brought war home. And the truth is, I didn't beat my family. I didn't put my hands on them. But what I did is I cut my wife down and my children with my tongue. You know, when we were young kids, we were told sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is the greatest lie. I hurt my family with my words.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Battle-Born Batteries, and by SKB Cases.
I would grab Grandma's little bottle of anointing oil and I would put it on everything. And I had a teammate come up to me one day and he said, "You and I know that you're praying for us, but no one's shooting at us." He said, "Would you stop praying?" That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Right. If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes footage, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're a U.S. military veteran in Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, or beautiful sunny Florida, log on to our website, takeavetfishing.org, to find an event near you.
John had some soul searching to do. After 2 tours in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq, and despite his struggles with alcohol, John would graduate as an officer, uproot his family, and head to Fort Hood. Thinking he had left violence behind overseas, he had no idea that violence would follow him home.
On Fort Hood, April 2nd, 2014, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, changed my life, changed my wife's life, our family.
Army Specialist Ivan Lopez opened fire, killing 3 people and wounding 16 others. It is believed that Specialist Lopez had an argument with a fellow soldier before the shooting. The suspect had been evaluated for post-traumatic stress and was receiving treatment for depression and anxiety.
And so about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to go to my unit headquarters. And so I park and I get out of the car and I'm stepping away from my vehicle and I hear shots fired. I didn't think that I was in danger on base. So what I was listening to when I was looking up the road is him shooting at every soldier that was standing behind their unit building. He pulls in my parking lot, and when I took my eyes off of him, I didn't realize that he pulled up a weapon. And the next shot I heard ripped through my throat. So I took a .45 caliber that severed my jugular vein, went through my voice box, and traveled into my right shoulder. So essentially, it went straight through me like this. It felt like a baseball bat hit me in the chest. And then I thought to myself, am I hit? So as I'm on the ground, my life is pouring out, and I'm thinking about the people that I love the most. In that moment, I hear this audible voice, John, get up or your wife is gonna die. I didn't understand what was happening. And the voice didn't come from outside, it came from inside of me. And I hear it again, but this time in a more stern tone, John, get up or your wife is gonna die. My wife had lost her brother and her mother and her father. Now I'm on the ground and my life is pouring out and I hear this audible voice. And what I now understand is it was God speaking to me and he was saying, John, if you don't get up, your wife is gonna take her life. It was easier that day to stay on the ground. I took a .45 through my throat. No one would have ever thought that I would have lived through that anyways. So on that ground, I had to make a decision. And there was nobody there to pick me up, Jay. God didn't reach down to pick me up. All he did is he told me to get up. So I have to make a decision. Am I gonna fight? Am I gonna choose? Am I gonna live? What's the legacy of my family gonna be if I don't make a decision to live? So I get up off the ground and I try to live and I start walking and I'm looking for help. And there's a soldier walking towards me. 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Fort Hood. There's 30,000 soldiers on this base. It should have been like a beehive. And I'm only see one soldier walking towards me and I'm trying to get to him. I can't yell out to him because I can't speak and he's getting closer to me and I'm trying to ask him for help. And he gets close enough to me and he stops and he's 10 feet in front of me and he's just real hyper vigilant. He's looking around like this and I realize that I'm standing in front of the man that just shot me. He looks right at me, looks through me, looks to the left and right, and Jesus blinds him. I believe it was a divine intervention, and he was blinded. He turns like he doesn't see me, walks into this building we're both standing in front of, and he shoots 3 more people, walks out the back and takes his life. I just remember closing my eyes and thinking to myself like, just keep breathing, just keep breathing. So they get me to the elevators and the elevator doors open and 2 doctors come out of the elevator they're trying to put me in and they're the ear, nose, and throat surgeons. Jay, everything I needed was exactly where it needed to be the moment I obeyed God when he told me to get up.
Helping the Home Front provides financial resources to assist active duty military families through partnerships with churches and ministries near military installations across the U.S. and abroad.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Suzuki Marine, Wiley X Sunglasses, and by Recon Boats. God's voice prompted John to get up in an act of bravery and obedience. John responded. He chose to live, and that would start a long, grueling road to recovery.
I think at the hospital is when I went into shock. His head was as big as a basketball. His tongue was sticking out. I just told them that that was not my husband. I could not believe that he was looking like he was. I didn't know a body could take that much swelling. And they also told me he may never speak again.
I felt that his outlook was going to be difficult, that he would carry a burden for the rest of his life. Because that bullet is a .45 caliber, and it hit his jugular vein, it hit his voice box. It went at an angle that it went out the shoulder blade on the right shoulder. I felt that he was going to have a limp, useless arm. And he was, to some degree, joyful because he had hope. His injuries were not the end, that there was something bigger for him waiting.
The first part of my recovery became the process of healing my family. And it was in that moment when here I am, I'm broken, and I got tubes and everything coming out of my throat. And I'm in this Fisher house, and I look up at my son, and I ask him for forgiveness. And it was in that moment that I said, I'm sorry. And that's when the healing process started. But the physical healing and the mental and emotional process, that's been a journey, Jay. We're better, we're healed, but it's been 10 years of healing.
I'm sure you're still healing.
Yeah, we still are. I didn't know anything about sharing my faith outside of a church, but that's what God's plan was. And here I am today, sharing hope and resilience with the world that needs it right now.
I realized there was a change in John. 6 months to a year after the incident, he was telling everybody about Jesus.
See, I didn't know that I was in uniform as a Green Beret really is a precursor for what the job I'm doing today. Today, my job is to go all over the world, wherever the doors are open, and step in and free the oppressed. But the only difference is it's not the Taliban that's chasing them. It's mental and emotional trauma. Why is it that I'm not dead? Why haven't I taken my life? Because it was what I made the source of my resilience. And that is the greatest thing that we're trying to help soldiers and first responders understand. What is the source of resilience? For me, my source was Jesus Christ. I made him the foundation of my recovery because Angel and I, we couldn't depend on each other. She couldn't lean on me and I couldn't lean on her. We were broken. We needed something greater than us to stand on. And I'm telling you today, Jay, the reason why I'm here right now and I'm talking to you is because Jesus became the source of my resilience. And I tell them what was told to me. I just tell them to get up. Hey, look, you're gonna be okay. You may go through some things in life, but it's only gonna be for a moment. Tomorrow, just get up.
Legacy Farmstead offers healing to service members by providing equine-assisted therapy and encouraging vulnerability to build trust and empathy.
So there's some pretty unique science between, the influence of their heart and your heart, and being in proximity to them and grooming them and taking care of them, that animal husbandry effect. So a lot of veterans and first responders with PTSD or chronic anxiety feel relaxed, feel blood pressure change. They're reading your emotions and your feelings, and you've got to figure that out. And so that's one of the powerful things about equine-assisted therapy.
As a token of our appreciation and our family, I want to present this red, white, and blue rod to you. It's got all the branches of service on it, and it says, in appreciation of your sacrifice and service, John Arroyo. And I just want to make sure that this is my token to you to tell you that I promise you I'm going to take you out fishing, okay? And no fisherman is official without an official Operation Healing Heroes jersey. So we got you an Operation Healing Heroes jersey with John Arroyo on the front and Arroyo on the back, and that's for you, sir. I can't say thank you enough for sharing your story with us. You're a true American hero by every stretch of the imagination, and the fact that you're here today still talking to us about it makes me so proud to do what I do.
Jay, I'm crying because this is something that a boy should do with his dad, and I never I never got a fishing rod. I never got to go fishing with my dad. This is the very first fishing rod I've ever received in my life. But Jay, I promise that I'll give my boys one and I'll start a legacy. Thank you.
Can I hug you? Thank you for being you, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Love you.
Love you.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org, and click on the nominate button.